Hey, what's up, everybody? In this video tutorial, we're going to be taking a look at how to do the Candy Statistics project. So what you need to do first is jump out there on Google Classroom, get to our Statistics project module, and come down and find the Candy Statistics project. Okay, these are the worksheets you received in class. Okay, so if you take a look at the actual worksheet, it's going to sort of explain everything you have to do. So for this project, what you're going to be given is the worksheet packet, obviously, and then you're going to be getting dial calipers. And what you have to do with your dial calipers once you first get them is to make sure that they're totally calibrated. Then once you have calibrated your dial calipers, you're going to be receiving 27 M&Ms and a cup from me. And what you're going to be doing is you're going to be measuring the M&Ms where they are basically in this orientation. So it looks like the M&M is being squished by the dial calipers. So that's sort of the way to look at that. That's the orientation, okay, that you're going to be measuring each M&M. And you're basically going to be measuring across that M&M, okay, from here to here. All right. And you're going to be doing that with the large jaws of the dial caliper. So as you're measuring these M&Ms, okay, the last part of the worksheet, okay, is going to be a quality control card that looks like this. So when you have measured the M&M, you're going to be recording what the measurement, or what we're calling the height of the M&M is, and it's going to be in this format. So x.xxx. Okay, you're going to be writing that into the card. So in our case, we'll say we measured that M&M. It was 0.283, so you'd be writing 0.283. Okay. Once the M&M has been measured, you're going to take that M&M and you're going to place it right in the middle of the circle here. You're going to continue doing this for all 27 M&Ms until your card is completely filled up. Okay. So once that is done, then what you're going to be doing is coming out here into Google Classroom right above this. You're going to be seeing the Candy Statistics Measurement Data Collection. And when you do that and you click on it, you're going to see it takes you out to a Google form, which is going to require your email, last name, first name, what period you had me in class. And then down here, you're going to see it's going to be asking you to take those same measurements, okay, that you just had on your quality control card, and you're going to be typing those in where it says your answer. Please note again that the format should be, if it was 0.283 dimension, you'd be typing that in as 0, not an O, a 0.283, and you're going to be typing that answer in for all 27 of your measurements into the Google form. Once you are done, you're going to hit the submit button, and that is going to come to me. So once you have measured all 27 of your M&Ms, what you need to do is come out here, okay, go to Excel, and you're going to be creating a brand new spreadsheet. Okay. I would go ahead and save that spreadsheet as Candy Statistics Project. And the first thing you're going to do when you open this is you're now going to record all 27 of the dimensions that you just measured of your 27 M&Ms into the first column. Okay. Once that is done, what you need to do is come out here, pick, hold, and drag, and we're going to reformat that cell, or those cells, okay, where it is going to be a number, and it's going to be to 3 decimal place accuracy. You're going to say okay. Okay, so once you have done that, okay, what you're going to do is come down to these cells, okay, that you see here below A27. So below, you're going to come to all these cells, okay, right click, and come down and pick on Format Cells again. It needs to be a number, and this needs to be set to 4 decimal place accuracy, and you're going to say okay. So starting here, and this is at B28, okay, I'm going to go ahead and type in mean, median, mode, and if I were you, I would give yourself 5, 6, maybe even 7 cells below mode. And now I'm going to go ahead and type in range, standard deviation, and in parentheses we'll put for population. And then we'll put in standard deviation again, but this time it's going to be for a sample. So depending on how you're looking at it, are all 27 of these measurements the only 27 that are out there? And if that's the case, it'd be for the population. If not, if all 27 of these M&Ms are just simply a portion of the entire population, That would be for the sample. All right, so we have some text that's spilling over and going into other cells here. So I'm going to come here to the top. Between B and C here on the top, we can see the line, and we can see now how our cursor looks like this. We're going to double click to expand it to the width of the column. And the last thing we're going to do before we kind of get going is the first step of statistics, and that is you always take your data set and make sure this is arranged from smallest to greatest. So I'm going to come here from A1 all the way to A27. Okay, I'm going to come up here to my sort and filter and switch that and make sure it is sort from smallest to largest. Just like so. Okay, and we can see it goes from smallest to largest. Now we can go ahead and start doing our calculations by using Excel. So picking on the cell here next to me, what I'm going to be doing is coming up here, hitting the pull down next to AutoSum. I'm going to come down to more functions, and I'm going to be coming in here. Actually, no, we don't have to do that. Let's go back here. Okay, let's go down and find average. So it's going to say, hey, do you want to find the average of cells A1 to A27? And that's exactly what we're looking for. So I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. Now for median, what you're going to be doing is hitting the flyout once again. We can see that median is not here. So I'm going to come down and pick on more functions. Okay, you can see we can do a search. So everything's grayed out right now. If you just start typing median and hit enter, it's going to take you to the function that's embedded within Excel. So I'm going to select on median and say okay. All right, and you're going to see it's going to be asking if you want to find the median from cells A1 to A28. Okay, unfortunately though, our data set is only to A27. So I'm going to come in here, cursor in the box, and change our 28 to a 27. And now I'm going to go ahead and click on OK. I'm now going to be picking on the cell next to mode. So I'm going to come up here once again next to AutoSum, go into more functions, and I'm just going to type in mode and hit enter. When you do that, you're going to see that we have an option here called mode.mult. Our mode could be multimodal. All right, it might be more than one number. That's exactly why I gave you the cells or had you put in the cells earlier. So I'm going to select on mode mult and I'm going to say okay. All right, so I'm going to be making sure that my cursor has been clicked into this white box here on the top. And I'm now going to pick, hold, and drag and get cells A1 to A27. Now I'm going to go ahead and say okay. So for my data set in my example, okay, it was just one single number for my mode. Okay, so here's what I'm going to ask that you do. All right, if you have any blanks here underneath mode, okay, go ahead and highlight them, right click, and now come up here and pick on delete and pick on entire row and say okay. And that's going to move things up, okay, like the range where it's underneath your last mode number. Okay, so speaking of range, let's go ahead and pick on the cell next to range. And we're going to go ahead and type in our own equation. So a range is going to be our maximum measurement from our data set minus our minimum number from our data set. So since we have sorted these earlier, okay, I'm going to type in equals, and then I'm going to say this is A27, which is our maximum measurement. I'm going to hit minus, and then I'm going to type in A1. Okay, once I do that and hit enter, it's going to calculate what our range is. And now we're coming here to our standard deviation for our population. Okay, so this time picking the cell next to standard deviation for population. I'll come up here, hit the arrow next to AutoSum, go to more functions. Now I'm going to do a search for stdev and hit enter. Okay, so standard deviation for population, we're going to use stdev.p, and now I'm going to go ahead and say okay. You can see it's trying to auto-detect the range from A1 to A31. Okay, in my case, or our case, it's going to be A1 to A27. So once I see that says A1 colon A27, I'm going to hit enter. And now we can see it has calculated our standard deviation if this was an entire population. I'm going to pick on the standard deviation for sample. And once again, come up here to the flyout, go to more functions. Okay, I'm going to type in stdev again and hit enter. And we can see that stdev.s is now a function that we can select. So I'm going to go ahead and select it and say okay. And now for my number one here, okay, I'm going to click in the white box, and now I'm going to pick, hold, and drag A1 to A27. Okay, and that's what should be in the box. Once that is done, I'm going to go ahead and say OK. All right, and we can see is now solve for the standard deviation if this data set was just a small portion of an entire population. Okay, so that is done. All right, so next here to mean in this cell right here, so that for me it's showing C28. I'm going to go ahead and just type in lower limit. Okay, I'm going to expand the width of that column, and then come here to next to lower limit, and I'm going to type in upper limit, and go ahead and expand that column width. All right. So we said that the standard that we're going to use is 2 standard deviations from the mean. Okay, that's going to be how we're going to calculate what our lower limit is and what our upper limit is. So on the cell here below lower limit, I'm going to type in equals. Okay, and now I'm going to come over and I'm going to pick on the actual number for the mean. Now I'm going to subtract this since we're looking for the lower limit. Okay, I'm going to type in minus. And now I'm going to come down here and pick on the number for our standard deviation. Okay, I'm going to hit minus because we do have to come out here and subtract that 2 times. So once again, I'm selecting on the standard deviation for the population. Once I hit enter, it's now going to give me my lower limit, okay, for my data set to use as quality control measure. I'm now going to select underneath upper limit. I'm going to type in equals. And once again, we're going to be starting with our mean. So I'm going to pick on mean. Okay, and now this time we're going to say plus, and we're going to be picking on the standard deviation. We're going to pick on plus sign one more time, okay, and pick the standard deviation again. Now I'm going to hit enter, and that's going to be telling me what my upper limit is. So now is the time when I'm looking at my data set, and I'm looking at the lower limit and the upper limit. So you're going to start here at your lowest number. So in my case, it's 0.267. And I'm basically going to be looking to see, does it fall in this range from 0.2682? Remember, this is my data set. Yours can be different. But in my data set, I'm looking to see if this is going to fall within this range. Okay, 0.267 is less than 0.2682. So I'm now going to move on to the second number. Okay, the second measurement I'm seeing is 0.269, and I can see that 0.269 falls within this range. So I'm going to come here to 0.269, and I'm going to go ahead and fill that with green, indicating to me, okay, that is a good quality part. All right. So since these are in order, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to skip ahead and go to my maximum. And I'm going to see if my maximum measurement, which in my case is shown 0.325, falls within this limit. Okay. And I can see that 0.325 is less than my max, which is 0.3251. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to color that in with green. Then all you have to do now is come to all your numbers in your data set and go ahead and fill with green. All right. And it's now indicating to me that all the data that I see here that's highlighted in green is a good quality part. Okay. It's a good quality measurement according to our standard. Since 0.267 here at the top did not fall within that range, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fill that with a red color to indicate that is not a good quality part. Okay, so what we're going to do next is we're going to start setting up things for our histogram. All right, there can be a lot of numbers involved with this, so I think I've got a couple things that can kind of help us out. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to start up here in column E, so I'm at E1. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to type in, this is my input, okay? And here at F1, I'm going to type in, this is my bin. So with input, all you have to do is come over here and highlight cells A1 all the way to A27. I'm going to go ahead and copy that. And then right here underneath input, I'm going to go ahead and do a paste value. Okay, so once I pasted that value in, now I want to reformat those cells for the 3 decimal place accuracy. So we can see it's already highlighted in gray. If it's not, pick, hold, and drag and highlight them. Here in the gray area, right click, go to Format Cells, go to Number, and let's go ahead and bump this up to 3 decimal place accuracy and say OK. All right, so we can see that they're all the same format. Now what you're going to do is you're going to come here to the lowest number in your data set and say copy. And now we're going to go ahead and paste it over here as a value in the first bin. Okay, right below that, I'm going to click on this cell and I'm going to say this is going to equal, okay, whatever is in this cell. So I'm going to click it. We can see that that's cell F2. And what I'm going to do is come up here and say plus. I'm going to type in 0.001 and hit enter. Okay. I'm now going to come into that last cell that I was just working with. I'm going to click it. There's a little green box here at the bottom right. I'm going to pick, hold, and drag. Now, the thing is you have to look at your data set. Okay. The very maximum number I have in my data set is 0.325. So I'm going to pick, hold, and drag, and I'm going to drag this down until I see 0.325. And it looks like there, I got it. Okay. So the number here at the very top, the lowest number in our data set, 0.267, in my case, is matching the lowest bin. Okay, 0.325, the highest on my data set here, is going to be matching with my highest number of bin. All right, let's just do a little bit of reformatting here for the bin. So I'm going to come into this column, grab every number in this column. I'm going to right click, go to format cells, make sure it's a number. I'm going to increase that to 3 decimal place accuracy and say OK. All right, so we have our input range figured out and we have our bin range figured out. So what we need to do now is we need to jump up here to our data tab, okay, and then come over here and pick on data analysis. What we're going to be creating is a histogram, so please make sure that that is checked. And now go ahead and say OK. So anything that might be popping in here to these different ranges, I'm just going to clean it out. And I'm going to be clicking on the first box for input range. And now what I'm going to do is grab every number here that makes up our input. Okay, and we can see that that's been populated in the white box. I'm now going to pick on the white box right below it. This is our bin range. So click on the white box, come here underneath bin and pick everything, okay, within this column as a number. All right, and that's been populated. What you have to do is make sure, all right, to make sure that your chart output has been checked. And now we're going to go ahead and say OK. And when we do that, we can see that a second sheet has now been created in Excel. So sheet 1 never disappeared. It's still here. So if I pick on sheet 2, that's where our histogram is at. So I'm going to pick on the histogram, expand this out where I can see everything. Okay. I'm going to come here to frequency. I'm going to go ahead and hit the delete button on that. All right. And now I can start sort of modifying our histogram. Okay. So I'm going to come here to the top and I'm going to say this is my first last name. I'm going to call this Candy Statistics Histogram. Okay. So it's going to be given a title that kind of makes sense. Down here below where it says bin, okay, I'm going to replace that with measurement in inches. So, and then over here on the left for frequency, okay, this is going to be my number of occurrences. So it's going to make a little bit more sense to us. All right, so we can see with our number of occurrences, we're seeing it's going up by every 0.5. Okay, number of occurrences, it happens or it doesn't. It's a 1 or a 0. There isn't half of an occurrence. So I'm going to pick here on the numbers. Okay, your format axis dialog box is here. You have to hit the little bar icon. Now pick on the flyout next to axis options. Come down here to your major units and switch that from 0.5 to a 1 and hit enter. Okay, and now this is the histogram that we get, okay, for our Candy Statistics. Now, if you're looking at this, all right, and we've kind of talked about this in class, something called normal distribution, right, is that you might be looking at your data, and mine does a pretty good job. It's starting to show the formation of that bell-shaped curve. If you're looking at your data and it's not looking like a bell-shaped curve, Okay, don't panic. All that simply means is that you don't have enough data yet in order for that to start looking like it. Because you have to remember, you only grabbed 27 pieces of data from the M&Ms that you were measuring. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead now, click on my histogram, right click and say copy. And now I'm going to come over here to sheet 1. All right, about right here, in line with mean, lower, and upper limits on the other side of this column, okay, I'm going to go ahead and paste this in. Now at this time, this is when you probably want to do some adjustment here, okay, make this shrink to be a little bit smaller. And then now what you need to do is, using snipping tool, is come out here now and snip this. Okay, in this area here, that's going to include my mean, median, mode, range, and standard deviation for both, and the actual histogram. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and save that image. I'm going to save that out to my downloads, and I'm going to call that, okay, my first, last name, Candy Statistics histogram. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and save that out there into my downloads. Okay, so you have all the information you need there. That's one piece of evidence that you need to turn in. Okay, and then there's 2 more pieces of evidence that you need to have, okay, in order to do the next part. So what you're going to have to do is go out to your Google Classroom, okay, find our class, and when you get into our class, you're going to come here to our statistics project module. Okay, what you're going to see is given all the information that you gave me through the Google form, I have created a histogram, okay, for your particular period. All right, I know this is showing period 1. You might not be in period 1, but you need to have the Candy Statistics histogram for your period. Okay, when you get in here and you click on the image, okay, you might have to hit the ... and say open in new window. Okay, you're going to see you have the ability to download that. So I'm going to go ahead and download that. And that's going to save it out to my downloads. I'm now going to navigate back here to Google Classroom. And then also in here, you're going to see the All IED Sections Candy Statistics histogram. You need to click on that and go ahead and click on that image. Okay, we'll hit the ... and say open in new window. And now I'm going to go ahead and download that. All right, so now I have that one saved to my downloads. And now is the time when you go out to your Google Drive, you're going to create a new document, Google Doc. And now's the time when you're going to begin inserting in 3 different things. The first thing you need to insert is an image from your computer, and that's going to be of this is your Candy Statistics histogram. I'm going to go ahead and drop that in. I'm going to hit the enter key. Now I'm going to come out, insert another image from your computer. This needs to be of your period. I understand it's saying period 1, but it needs to be your period number. That's what we just downloaded from Google Classroom. I'm going to drop that in. And then the third thing you need to do is insert an image, okay, of all sections Candy Statistics and drop that in. Okay. So when we do that, okay, we're going to have, okay, not just the data, but we're going to be looking at the histogram, okay, from your data, your periods data, and the All IED sections that I teach data. And the reason for this is you're going to see how that bell-shaped curve is going to sort of develop from your 27 pieces of data to all the data pieces that we have from your period, and then every single piece of data that I have from all IED sections that I teach. All right, and you're going to see how it's going to develop from something really rough, or maybe not even looking like a bell-shaped curve, to something that's looking like this. Okay, now if you're looking at the 2 little small bell shapes that we're seeing on these, okay, that's from what we discussed in class. We think that we had a bad dial caliper out there that was getting bad information, and that's why that's showing up as a second small little bell-shaped curve. Once you have this done, this is the time when you go ahead and name this with your first, last name, call it Candy Statistics. Okay, And once that has been renamed, what you need to do is go out into Google Classroom. And up here towards the top, you're going to see the Candy Statistics Excel work. Okay, you're going to be turning in that Google Doc that you just created with those 3 images. Okay, you're going to turn that in right here for credit. All right, and that's how we do the second part, okay, of our statistics project, and that was the Candy Statistics, okay, using Excel.